Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever Community Cast Library. I've been on a short hiatus from FAF casting for the last few weeks, and I trust everyone has been in excellent health while I've been away, but I'm back now, so it's all good and well. So we do have a couple of things that we need to talk about. So I've had a hiatus over the last few weeks from FAF casting, in part due to frustration with the changes that I've made and the learning that I'm having to do, but that's my end, and I think I'm getting there and I'm doing okay. But the real reason why I've not done anything for FAF casting over the last few weeks is because I'm not getting the replays that I need in order to do that. So I spent too much time going through replays myself and trying to pick out ones that I wanted to cast, but I don't enjoy doing that. And in a situation where I'm doing this for, just for my own personal enjoyment, really, it's not like I'm Guile and I'm making a shitload of money out of this. So I'm not going to do that. So if I don't get the replays, and I need replays all the time because I need map variety, I could use more player diversity as well. That'd be awesome. So I need replays. If you enjoy this content, then you need to be sending me replays, because otherwise we'll keep getting 2 to 3 week hiatuses. So yeah, I'd like to do this once a week, but if I can't, I'm not going to. I'm not going to force it. So all that being said and done, let's jump straight into today's action. Hope you enjoy it, guys. Well, hello there, and welcome to some more chassis mangling mayhem coming in from the 10x10 map Adaptive Corona. We're going to call this 5 versus 5, Team 1 at the top. I got a little bit mixed up there. This team at the top, Team 1, this team at the bottom, Team 2. Starting off with the players for Team 1, going in the awkward plateau position in purple, weighing in at 1200 in Aeon, it's Mathew. Second up for Team 2 in his usual selection of cyan and his usually inflated ego of self, going drab and dreary UEF, coming in at 1700. It is Death Squad. And then thirdly for Team 1 in a kind of putrid lime colour, weighing in at 1300, going space pirate alien shenanigans, it is Hybrid. And then fourthly for Team 1, going super sexy blue and some more Seraphim shenanigans, weighing in at 1600, it's System Failure. And then lastly for Team 1, weighing in at 1600, going pink suits you sir, and another Seraphim player, it is Google. And the players for Team 2 starting off in their plateau position, selecting a disgusting shade of teal, weighing in at 1500, going UEF, it is F-Odin. He's changed his name back from Nidoff. I'm very disappointed. I was quite fond of the Nidoff. Second up for Team 2, going Master Cybran race in red, weighing in at 1600, it is Godzilla. And thirdly for Team 2, going green and Seraphim, coming in at 1500, it is KungFuPanda. And penultimately for Team 2, going yellow and another Seraphim selection, the lowest ranking player of the replay at 800, it is NiCAD. And then lastly for Team 2 in Old Man Grey, weighing in at a colossal 1900, it is Freedom. So already we got some early raids going forward from Team 2 down both flanks here of Godzilla, and on the right Freedom. Godzilla electing to accompany his hunter with a scout. Death Squad already does have a scout out front and center, positioned ready to detect any raiding party from Godzilla. These two on the left hand side have played each other a lot, so they tend to know what they do. And the scout's going to go down from Death Squad, but we've already got some striker tanks rolling out from Death Squad on an intercept trajectory, blocking, passing through the back here to pick up this expansion engineer. And over on the right hand side there was just a scout out there from Google, so Google has had the opportunity to see this mech marine from Freedom, and Freedom looks like he's running the mech marine around the back here of Google, and Google's just starting to bring forward his ACU to intercept that. And I think Freedom Freedom's spider senses were tingling there, and he's decided to turn the mech marine around, and now instead is gonna focus on this mech's point back over on the left hand side. And Death Squad's striker tanks did indeed deal with the incursion from, or attempted incursion from, Godzilla, so that came to naught. We've got early T1 bombers outgoing from Team 1 now. F-Odin's just picking up a single engineer on the plateau there, and Freedom's here just coming in and taking out 3 engineers in one pass there for Freedom, and on its second pass it looks like it's going to pick up the last one, and that's about that. And Google promptly getting some interceptors out to deal with it. Back in the center, I'm not quite sure what else F-Odin's has picked up. I don't see any wrecks, so as far as I'm aware, F-Odin's T1 bomber far less effective than that of his teammate. Just see a drop here on the isolated max point on the right hand side from Google, and upon doing that he's attracted the attention of some interceptors of Freedom, and Freedom is going to take out that T1 transport, and Freedom again moving up this far right hand edge with a striker tank and a scout this time. Freedom determined to get in behind and cause some shenanigans at the back of Google's base. This Mech Marine's still on a mission here. For some unknown reason it switched mech's target, and it's finally taken out something of value, not before System comes in and takes it out with a T1 bomber. And over on in the middle now we've got Hybrid and NiCAD jostling for the control of these forward maxes, and NiCAD with quicker spam generation here, and Hybrid already electing to fall back and surrender control of these additional mid maxes to NiCAD. And it doesn't look like that the push around the back of Google's base came to too much there. We see the wrecks of the scout and the striker tank. And over on the left hand side, Godzilla has pushed a Mantis right around the back of Death Squad's forward lines, trying to take out this max point, and not quite managing to finish off the job before Death Squad manages to reinforce the 2 striker tanks. There would have been an engineer over here, so Godzilla did at least get rid of the engineer. And we've got a drop now coming out from KungFuPanda, taking the isolated mechs on the left hand flank for Team 2. So slight variation there. Google taking the right hand one for Team 1. His mirror is Godzilla, who's elected to allow Kung Fu to take it for Team 2. And in terms of ACU upgrades in the early stages here, we've got Godzilla in the latter stages of a T2 upgrade. Not too sure if anybody else has done anything just yet. Mathew has actually completed T2 on his ACU, and he's sensibly elected to get up some early TMD here to protect these 2 max points, and also another one at the back to protect the central right hand flank of his plateau. And over on in the right now, Google starting to amass some units on the forward lines. Google still no upgrade on his ACU as of yet. Neither has his mirror. Freedom just happily chilling out in his forward area, getting some reclaim in and stashing up some units. And Google there going into a gun speed range upgrade. And in the middle, we've got reclaiming engineers forward from F-Odin. So F-Odin's done a little either a reverse ledge build, or he's dropped and got some land factories up to with the intent of reinforcing center, but NiCAD doesn't really need any reinforcing right now, so F-Odin's just going to take the free mass, and NiCAD's going to edge forward and start applying pressure onto Hybrid, who's just camped out in the choke position between the two plateaus here in the center, and Hybrid going into his own gun speed range upgrade. And we do see some TML from Godzilla up here on the left hand side, and Death Squad is in the mid stages of a T2 upgrade, and the first TML is out for Godzilla, and he looks like he's targeting the ACU of Death Squad. So the first TML going into the face of Death Squad with the intent of applying pressure so that Death Squad would cancel the upgrade. So I like the thought from Godzilla, but Death Squad hasn't taken the bait, and if only Godzilla had just managed to squeak a second TML off there, he could have TML sniped Death Squad, and that would have been funny as fun. And the second volley of TML, well, he didn't go for the ACU, he's gone for this T2 mechs at the back there, and I don't think it would have finished off Death Squad had the second one gone for the ACU, but it would have been squeaky pants time. And over on the right hand side, we got a push here coming in from Google onto the position of Freedom, and Google is looking to envelop Freedom's ACU with his T1 spam. Freedom's just about managing to reinforce with some T2 pillars coming up from the rear central area. Google with the gun speed upgrade on his comm. Freedom's got T2 on his comm, and Freedom is in full retreat right now, and there's a lovely little overcharge from Freedom there, taking out a whole clump of T1 spam. And Freedom now, he's backed up far enough, and he's going into some triad turrets. And Google starting to look a little bit overextended here as his T1 spam is being ground out by the T2 pillars of Freedom. And Freedom now starting to counter push into the ACU of Google, and Google needs to be careful because he's taking triad fire and pillar fire, and Google's just standing there focusing on the triad turret of Freedom, and Freedom starting to push forward with his comm. Google getting an OC off, taking out two of the pillars there, but he's approaching the 3,000 hit point, and now Google is throwing in what remains of his T1 spam to try and cover the withdrawal of his ACU, which is now below 2,000 HP. And Google there, I almost feel that was unnecessary. Freedom still with a very healthy ACU, and Google has almost died for what? I'm not quite sure. Google is a hell of a lot better than I am, so I don't want to sound like I'm questioning him. And as he withdraws, we've got T1 interceptors moving forward from Google and Hybrid to make sure that he isn't finished off by some kind of cheeky T2 air shenanigans. I was just looking for an Aeon player on Team 2 for a Mercy, but there isn't one. Mathew over on the plateau for Team 1 has got some T1 artillery online, and he is lending support fire to both left flank and left centre as his T1 artilleries just lob over shells aimed at passing units. And there's a little mantis at the bottom there from Godzilla trying to dodge, and God knows what else it's actually trying to accomplish. It's trying to shoot the artillery units of Mathew, but it's just firing at the cliff edge effectively. And F-Odin here has gone shield and T2 and is now going into T3. The shield upgrade's interesting, so F-Odin perhaps looking to drop center and start to offer some more support at mid. Back over on the right hand side, and we've got the counter push that's continuing from Freedom. Freedom's gone full T2 spam here, and although Google does have a couple of Ilshivers up, and Ilshivers are super sexy, but not enough to deal with the number of T2 units that Freedom is ramming down Google's throat right now. And System is just up with his ACU, getting some T1 point defense online to support here. And a mass scouting expedition going forward from Google, trying to see what Freedom's got going on. So the air factory of F-Odin is at T2, and it's building a T2 transport, so there's definitely a comm drop on the cards here from F-Odin. Assume it's going to be in the middle, and we've got Google going into Nano now. Remember, he's already got gun on that ACU. He needs to get Nano just to get some health back onto his comm. And we've got Flapjacks now from Freedom starting to harass the forward formation of Google's T1. And as predicted, F-Odin's ACU is in the T2 transport. It's milling around. It's not just doing a simple drop, and it's queuing up for the edge of Mathew's plateau. And F-Odin with a completely crazy move on the cards here. He's comm dropping his Mirror's plateau, and he manages to get the drop off. There's just a little power stall there from F-Odin, and his shields are now back online as he starts to spam some T1 point defense. Mathew was building T2 artillery, and now he's throwing down T1 artillery, applying pressure on the ACU of F-Odin. Mathew not doing a whole lot with his ACU right now, but F-Odin's going to have to do more than T1 PD to deal with the T1 artillery spam of Mathew, and F-Odin's shield already half health here. F-Odin is now reclaiming shields of Mathew. And F-Odin now starting to spam some T1 PD within range of the T1 artillery, so quick thinking on his feet there from F-Odin to deal with the T1 artillery of Mathew, and Mathew just falling back to the top half of the plateau. But back over on the right, we'll have to check back in on the plateau soon. We've got a major push coming forward from Freedom into Google, and despite the fact that Google's now at gun and nano, he's still only at half health, and Freedom is actually, I mean, it looks a lot healthier, but he's only got a few thousand more hit points, and Freedom actually needs to be careful here because he's taking T2 PD fire to the face. But back over on the plateau, and F-Odin looks like he's reclaimed both T2 maxes belonging to Mathew, and has now got some shields up, and he's gone into some T2 flak, and now he's trying to get a Rav up at the back of the building fire base, and Death Squad's dropped to Percival here to try and reinforce Mathew. Mathew himself is going into Oblivion construction, T2 defense turrets there, and aiming at the ACU of F-Odin, and F-Odin is taking heavy fire from the Oblivion turrets now. The shields have gone. The Percival is edging forward, and System Failure is doing his own cod drop onto the plateau to reinforce his T1 teammate, and F-Odin now looks in all sorts of trouble as he's taking fire from three players of Team 1. Mathew with the T2 turrets, Death Squad with the Percivals, and System with an ACU, which needs to be really careful because it's taking fire from the Rav turret and the T1 turret, and System below half health very quickly here, and F-Odin's shields are still holding. as the Percival edges in. And F-Odin unable to muster an OC to take out the Percival. Switching back up into T1 PD production. And just zooming out a second, and we've got Godzilla, who's got an old Donald Trump building a wall on the left-hand side, and then he's funneling his loyalist spam up the center between the choke point belonging to Hybrid, but back on the plateau. And F-Odin looks like he's in the Alamo here. We've got a second Percival that's been dropped by Death Squad. F-Odin shields are gone. The T2 transport's coming in. That was a Mercy coming in from, I think it was Mathew. F-Odin now, he's backed up right onto the very edge of the plateau. Now he's trying to hide over the lip of the plateau as the end looks inevitable for F-Odin. He's below half health. Another Mercy comes in. There's T2 fire. There's all sorts of shit, and F-Odin is going to go down, and Death Squad gets the kill. So the Percival's coming up with the killing shot there on F-Odin. That was a completely crazy move from F-Odin. I absolutely love it. But as much as it was crazy, it was as equally stupid as T1 finally managing to deal with it. And we've got units from NiCAD, I assuming they were following up the Loyalist being thrown forward by Godzilla, and NiCAD now around the back of Hybrid's base, but Hybrid with his ACU, T2 and gun upgrades on board that ACU, going to make short work of the T1 spam there that remains from NiCAD. More Loyalists from Godzilla just looping around the left center here. I'm not sure what they're trying to accomplish, but Death Squad pulling back his formation, and he's going to deal with that. And what have we missed on the right hand side? Well, carnage continues to ensue between Freedom and Google. Neither one looks like they've really got the upper hand right now, but Freedom is wary of being 2v1'd, I would suggest at this point. He is very much up against Google and System, but System is not lending too much reinforcements in the form of land. He is getting some gunships up, but KungFuPanda there, very ninja-like, pops in, kills the gunships and pulls out before System has time to react with his own ASF. Very adaptly done there by Kung Fu. And we've got TML up from Mathew, and I'm assuming that he was targeting some maxes around the middle here, and this latest volley of TML from Mathew actually targeting a triad turret of Freedom. So Mathew joining in with trying to repel the T2 tirade of Freedom, as Freedom looks to fortify the right hand side, trying to get some shields online. Mathew continuing to offer valuable support with the ledge firing of the T1 arties onto the Ilshivers of NiCAD. NiCAD perhaps not realizing that his Ilshivers are just shooting a cliff here, and Mathew is actually edging his engineers forward here to try and get the reclaim as well. And over on the left hand side we've got some hoplites just edging forward to this cliff edge here. Is he going to try and range the max here of Death Squad? Death Squad, coincidentally, while we're up here, is about 3/4 done on a Fat Boy, and the hoplites actually targeting the TMD of Death Squad on the left hand flank here. Very creative use of unit choice here by Godzilla, taking out the TMD. I'm assuming that Godzilla's still got the TML. He does. It's got 3 missiles in the tube, and with the destruction of those 2 TMD units, the 2, possibly 3 T2 Maxes here on the left hand side of Death Squad now become vulnerable, and the first one that's going to die is a fully capped T2 Max. So nice intelligent use of hoplites there by Godzilla, finishing it off with some sneaky TML action. We've now got T3 rolling forward from Hybrid in the form of Offhams. Hybrid trying to push back NiCAD and reinforce System as Freedom completely starts to envelop the defensive position thrown up by System failure. All these T1 point defense going down like they're made of confetti, and the pillars just rampage. They're not even bothering to stop. And surely this T2 Max here of System is not long for this world. The Offhams are trying to deal with it. Freedom now starting to pull back the forward push of the pillars as the Flapjacks continue to push up from a more withdrawn position. Oh, and Google's come around the back here with his ACU. He's got double gun on his Seraphim comm, so he's gone splash as well as the nano, and the shields there of Freedom surely saving his life there. I nearly missed that, and Freedom now is in full retreat. Freedom too preoccupied with the push forward, and Google snuck around the back with his ACU, and I tell you what, another second on that shield recharging its health and Freedom would be dead. And now the biggest air engagement ensues over the 2 ACUs between Kung Fu and System. Google's helping out with his T1 interceptors, but this is really about the ASF, and the micro looks slightly better on the side of System, although KungFuPanda does have more hybrids come forward with his own ASF as well, so Kung Fu losing out there. Better micro from System, and Hybrid also helping overcome the numbers advantage. And Google, he's got some T1 interceptors. He's just using them as scouts over the top of Freedom's ACU right now, and Freedom is throwing up some shields. So lucky to get away with that. And over on the left hand side, Death Squad has breached the wall of Donald Trump as the North surges southward. And Godzilla looks like he's tried to prepare a counter for the Fat Boy, getting some T2 artillery online, but I don't think he's got it up fast enough to deal with the Fat Boy. And actually the Fat Boy, it's low shields, but it's dealt with the majority of the counter thrown up by Godzilla, and now Godzilla losing some T3 power as well. Godzilla also trying to employ the use of T2 static TML to target the Fat Boy, and the Fat Boy's shields are down. Death Squad just about managing to get some dodging in as the Fat Boy now reaches half health. He needs to pull that back quite sharpish. He's got enough units forward here to cause more problems. He's got a squadron of T1 units being slowly reinforced by a push of Percival's. And Google looked like he was trying to re-push down the right hand side to finish off Freedom, but Freedom has managed to get his ACU out safely, but he's lost the forward base, and Freedom with his own Fat Boy now rolling forward on the right hand side. And I think there was a scout out a little bit earlier from Google, so Google's seen that and he's pulling back his own stuff, and Google just pushing what units he's got left over onto the right hand side edge to try and take out this max point. Freedom's tried to defend it with a couple of T1 point defense, but they're going to go down quite quickly, and Freedom's is going to lose that T2 mass extractor. And System just hovering around mid now. He's managed to collect a few T2 Seraphim gunships. What are they called again? I never learn the Seraphim unit names because I can't even speak English properly, never mind what that's supposed to be. And it looks like the gunships now pushing forward from System, and Kung Fu once again razor sharp on the air responsibilities, taking out the gunships. The gunships were only really targeting the TML, and System a little bit late supporting his gunships, but has pulled forward his ASF now, and Kung Fu and System just going to pull back their respective ASFs, not wanting to have an air engagement there. And on the right hand side, the Fat Boy from Freedom has made the front lines, and it's now starting to lay down artillery fire on the fire base of Google. And Google hasn't really prepared a good enough counter here. He's got some T2 artillery up, but it's not going to be enough, one thinks, to deal with the Fat Boy. We just see a couple of shells of T2 artillery fire coming in from Google's firebase, trying to take out the shields on the Fat Boy as it continues to remain stationary and lay down fire. It's not particularly, well, tell a lie, it is. It's grinding down Google's little base there, and Google's definitely going to lose that position. Back over on the left hand side, and we've got another push coming forward from Death Squad. It looks like he's got another Fat Boy there. I don't see a wreckage of the first one. I'm going to assume that Death Squad pulled it back and reclaimed it. But anyway, continuing to lay waste to Godzilla's forward structures, and Godzilla frantically trying to get up a Monkey Lord here. KungFuPanda has also built a chicken and handed that straight over to Godzilla as well. I'm not really too sure what Godzilla thinks this Monkey Lord and chicken are going to effectively counter the Fat Boy, because the Fat Boy is quite well supported with the sorted units. I mean, just look at all the parashields up there from Death Squad as well. So Fat Boy is being employed very usefully on both teams here. Team 1 winning the left hand side with their Fat Boy, Team 2 winning the right hand side with their now 2 Fat Boys rolling forward. Godzilla looking to try and sneak in with a chicken and a Monkey Lord here to try and take out the Fat Boy, but there's just too much there for me. And Death Squad already pulling back the Fat Boy to kite the incoming experimentals, and Godzilla, seeing that, has decided it's better off just to pull them back. And we've got a Awasar thrown up by Hybrid, and Hybrid's handed that straight off to Death Squad. I have seen some sensational micro on these things that basically turns them into gunships. If you want to see that, then check out episode 13. I think it was Hazen Nid who took an Awasar. I've never seen micro like that, but we'll see what Death Squad can conjure up with his micro. And his first pass looks like it's going to transfix on the position of Freedom, and 2 T3 power generators go up in a big pile of Seraphim smoke. But Freedom's ACU making it out okay there, only losing half of his now shielded ACU, and the second pass, Death Squad not quite getting the lineup that he needed there, so the second pass really failing, and the third one coming around now, and it's going for the kill on Freedom. The second bomb's gone off, And Freedom there just about getting a good enough dodge in to avoid most of the damage, and Freedom only losing what remains on his shield, and Death Squad now pulling that Awasar back. Wise move. Although I think he was targeting the Fat Boys there and it failed to drop its bomb, so potentially some shitty micro coming out from Death Squad there. And again, there's another pass that fails to drop, and the units of NiCAD continue to live as the ineptitude of Death Squad's micro on this Awasar continues to entertain the masses. Although, to be very fair to Death Squad, he's got a lot going on. He's trying to micro the left-hand flank with the Fat Boy, as well as do what he can with the Awasar. And I should think that Death Squad is prioritizing the left-hand flank above the micro of the Awasar. And the Fat Boys of Freedom are finally being dealt with by Team 1. Both Fat Boys look like they went down to gunships of System and Death Squad. So that was 3 lots of micro that Death Squad was contending with there. So I suppose one might say he has excuses for the shitty Awasar micro, but I'm not going to let him off. And I know you wouldn't want me to. And now Godzilla's Monkey Lord also suffering at the hands of air superiority, which Team 1 currently enjoy. And there's a pass, and it actually managed to drop its bomb off on that one, and NiCAD losing a little chunk of his stash of offhams and assorted T1 and T2 shenanigans as the Awasar comes in once again. And that time, that was a little bit more effective, and NiCAD's units ground to but dust. Mathews dropped this little max point up here earlier on. We missed that. It's taken out the max belonging to KungFuPanda. So Team 1 look like they're chipping away at this. Freedom was really the only player on Team 2 that's managed to get the upper hand on their opponents. And the Awasar just parking itself a little bit there. As Death Squad decides what to do with it next. There's no orders queued up on it for now, so it's just going to sit there and regen a little bit of health. And down on the left hand side we've got another artillery fire base being thrown up by Godzilla. Godzilla also just over halfway done on a crab. And we've got a central push coming down from Hybrid now. We've got Othams and a chicken. And NiCAD is in full retreat with what remains of his units. And we've got a chicken being pushed across here from left to center to try and take on the chicken. It's already sustained damage, the chicken of Godzilla. And NiCAD needs to turn those units around and support Godzilla's chicken here. And NiCAD is way too slow on seeing what was happening there, and the chicken is just being sacrificed to the Othams and the chicken of Hybrid. It was already up against it with much lower health than the chicken of Hybrid, and that chicken goes down, and Hybrids is going to be free to push around the bottom and probably pop out in the base of Freedom. We'll check on that in a sec. And the Awasar back in on the base of Godzilla this time, taking out the T3 power generator, the T2 artillery units, and all the build power in the area. The crab is no longer building, and the Awasar now deep into the red as it gets what's probably its last pass off to take out the TML launchers of Godzilla. And things looking ominous on the left-hand flank for Godzilla now. I think Death Squad's got power issues here because all of his power shields have been turned off. And Godzilla there throwing in the towel, control K-ing handing all of his stuff off over to Freedom. But Freedom's got his own problems here as he marches headlong into the chicken of Hybrid, and Hybrid's chicken now focusing down on the ACU of Freedom, and Freedom's shields have completely evaporated. We've got a reinforcing chicken coming across from Kung Fu, but I don't think it's going to be quick enough. Freedom's trying to dodge, but it's taking plasma balls to the face. And it goes down. Freedom is down. Team 2's best player by a country mile takes Hybrid's plasma balls to the face and he doesn't like it. And finally, Team 2 starting to come up with some kind of effective counter to the fat boys of Death Squad, employing the use of strats, but I think it's definitely too little too late. And Death Squad now with a tirade of assorted units approaching the core area of KungFuPanda, and KungFuPanda is calmly just trying to build a T3 power generator. And now shit starts to hit the fan as the units pour in from Death Squad, and there's a nuke going off there, and it's come from system and it's targeting NiCAD. So KungFuPanda accepting his fate like a man, he walks headlong into the tirade of Percival's being sent forward by Death Squad, and Death Squad picks up his second kill. We did have broadswords moving in there just to make sure. NiCAD's trying to pull his units across to deal with the push in from Death Squad, and NiCAD's base goes down to the nuke of system. And NiCAD pulled out his ACU, dodging the nuke. I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure that was a Control K from NiCAD, denying the kill and saying, I will kill myself, I will not give you the pleasure. So lots of entertaining shenanigans in that one. That was pretty fast paced. I particularly enjoyed the very aggressive, if not stupid, move from F-Odin with the comm drop on Mathew's plateau. That was very entertaining. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bits and bobs. And we've got Death Squad with his 2 kills there, and Death Squad's score way out ahead there, and Hybrid also picking up the kill of Freedom. So NiCAD at the end there, definitely Control K'ing. Taking a look at the categories, and Freedom picking up highest mass income and highest number of stuff built. Death Squad picking up most kills, and Hybrid picking up power generation. In terms of player of the match, I'm actually going to be a little bit controversial here. I'm going to award player of the match to Freedom. I know Freedom was on the losing team, but for me was definitely the best player in the match. Holding his own against multiple opponents throughout the match and actually really kind of winning his side of the map. Death Squad played really well as well, but I felt that Death Squad was afforded too much time by Godzilla to build up and eventually overthrow Godzilla on the left hand side. So well played, guys. I enjoyed that one. I hope you guys enjoyed that too. If you do enjoy the content, please don't forget to smash the thumbs up button. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I don't know if everyone's aware, but YouTube have changed the algorithm of stuff, so it's all about likes, comments and traffic. Basically, it's much less about views than what it used to be, so please show your support. Right guys, you all take care now, and I will catch you in the next one.